Hello, my name is Joe, and welcome to my channel, Joe's Book and Movie Corner. Today, I want to announce my participation in the Read What You Own challenge created by Olly at Criminali. This challenge, really, I was inspired initially by Michael K. Vaughan. Michael K. Vaughan, he's doing the God tier version of this challenge. He's calling it the 500 book challenge. I'm not doing that many, but I was listening to a couple of his older videos when he first started the 500 book challenge, and a lot of that spoke to me. I don't have nearly as many books as he does, but I love buying books. I love going to used bookstores and buying not stacks of books, but I'll usually come out of there with like 5 or 6 books. And I'll do that maybe a couple times a book, so that's 10, 11, 12 books a month. And then how many of those do I actually read in the next few months? Maybe one of them. So in the past couple years, my book collection has grown quite a bit, and my read to unread ratio is just out of control. So this challenge, I think, is made for me. And there's multiple different tiers. You can do 25, 50, 100 books, or the God tier 500 books. I'm just going to do the lowest one. I'm going to do 25 books, the bronze challenge, but really my real goal is not so much to read 25 books before I buy another one. I'm going to have a lot of exceptions here. My real goal is to just curb my book buying habit. I love going out to bookstores, but I'm starting to run out of shelf space. It's getting to the point where I'm thinking, all right, well, I need more shelves in my house. You guys don't even see it. These aren't even, for the most part, these aren't even my books behind me. My books are elsewhere. But yeah, I'm running out of shelf space, and our house is not the biggest house in the world. So I felt like I need to start reading the books that I own. So that's my real goal, is just curb my book buying. Now, how long will this take me? At this point, I've read about 80 books this year. Now, for a couple different reasons, work and family life, I don't expect to be able to read that much next year. I'm putting my goal at about 50 books for next year. So, if I read in 12 months, 50 books, I can expect 25 books to take me 6 months. Now, it could probably take me shorter than that. So there is a time factor. You can, instead of doing 25 books, you could do a page count. I'm not going to do that. I'm just doing 25 books. And at 3 months, so the end of January, I'm going to check in and ask myself, am I enjoying this, or do I want to go splurge at do I miss the few used bookstores that I like to go visit, and do I just miss that? So at 3 months, I may reassess. Now, what have I done to prepare? So one of the things I actually started doing this before I decided to even do the challenge. I think Criminali mentioned in an old video, or maybe it was a recent video, but he mentioned keeping track of the books that you own. I think he has an app where he scans the barcodes. I'm not doing that. I'm just taking my laptop and opening up a Google Sheets spreadsheet and just typing in all the books that I have. It really didn't take me that long. And I found out, so I haven't recorded every single unread book, so that's what I was doing. I was not writing out all my books, just the unread ones. So I have a couple spreadsheets. I have unread physical books, and it's most of the ones that I own. I'm probably missing a few. And then I have unread ebooks. And then I have a whole separate list for Star Trek books, ebooks, and physical books. They get their own list because I have a lot of those. And in total, I have about 350 unread physical books. I have about 350 unread ebooks. And then if you include Star Trek books, so I could do the 500 book challenge right there. And then if I add Star Trek books, it's like another 150 physical and ebooks in total with Star Trek. So I have a lot. Probably not as much as Michael K. Vaughan. I think he said he had like over 1,000 books unread. But I have a lot. I could do 500 books before I buy another book. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do 25 or check in at 3 months. And I have lots of exceptions. Before I move on for the spreadsheets, it was not that long. And if you haven't done this, if you have a large unread book collection, definitely make a spreadsheet. I mean, a lot of people have been saying, other booktubers, they say, shop your own book collection. And I like that. I mean, that's a really good idea. Spend time like looking at your shelf, trying to remind yourself what you have and what you don't have. But the best way to do that is just make an inventory. You don't have to focus on every single book you have. Just write down on a spreadsheet the books that you don't own yet. Another thing that helps you do is when you do go shopping again, if you're doing a Google Sheets, you can pull that up on your phone and you won't buy duplicates. That started to happen to me. I've bought a couple duplicates, and that told me, okay, I need to slow down. I'm forgetting what I have. So anyway, but what are my exceptions? Some of these are common. Some of these are probably unique to me. So one thing that seems to be very common is if you are on a trip, stop by and you see a bookshop, stop by and go rate it. I am going to be going on at least one trip in the next 3 months. End of November, I will be going up to Virginia, and on the drive, I know of a town that has some pretty good used bookstores. So I might stop there. I might stop at my destination. If I see a bookshop, I might. All bets are off. A couple other exceptions for me. I do have some Kindle points. I know some are gonna run out on December 1st. So at some point this month, I will probably use those Kindle points. So I'll probably end up buying just 2 books. But I'm gonna think long and hard about like, okay, which ones do I really want? I'm not just gonna just on a whim buy the first thing that I think of. Also, if I just see a really good deal on Amazon for a Kindle ebook, I'll probably buy it. Now, I'm going to try to not search for deals. There's a few science fiction authors that I look at and I go, okay, Philip K. Dick is one of them. I know all his books, they kind of cycle through deals. I'm going to try to not hunt on Amazon for deals, but if I happen to end up seeing one, if I'm buying something else and I see a deal pop, like a $15 book that's on sale for $2 for an ebook, I'll probably just get it. Another thing, so a lot of people say if there's an author you like comes out with a new book, you'll buy the new book. Now, I don't really have authors like that. I guess if the next Dungeon Crawler Carl book comes out, I'll get it. I've talked about that series a lot. I like it, but I also have a lot of problems with it. Discussion for another video. But, if I don't know when the next Dungeon Crawler Carl book comes out, but if it comes out while I'm doing this challenge, I'll probably get it. And if I discover, while I'm discovering authors that have been sitting unread on my shelf, if I find one that I really like, and they happen to be a living author with a new book coming out, maybe I'll get it. So I do make that exception. And the last big exception that I have is, so I'm a big mood reader, and I will... sometimes I'll see a movie or I'll learn about some subject and I go, well, I have to read a book on that. Usually find a novel that's based on that subject. So I watched the movie House of Dynamite on Netflix. By the way, great first act. The rest of it's terrible. It's a bad movie. Sorry. But a really good first act. But it did get me interested in reading a story about a nuclear war or the potential for a nuclear war, some sort of global crisis. And I have a couple books in my collection. One, it's inspired me to read maybe a zombie book, maybe World War Z. But for example, I have The Sum of All Fears. I've a long time ago, I actually listened to an abridged audiobook of that on a family vacation trip one time. But I'd like to read the actual book, but I've seen the movie. And there's a couple other examples I could give where, I could have gotten like Red Alert or Failsafe. I don't own those books, but I've seen the movies. Red Alert is Dr. Strangelove. Failsafe is Failsafe. So because, I have a few books that I could read, but I know how they end. I've seen the movies. I wanted something that I don't know the ending to. So I went ahead and I purchased just one book. I found a used copy online, Arclight by Eric L. Harry. And so that's what I'm going to do. If I find a subject like that, now I did squeak this in before the challenge starts. before November. I guess the challenge starts on November the 5th. I'm counting it starting in November, just the beginning of November. But if I have a subject like that where it's just I really want to read a book, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go to my used bookstores. I'm just going to find it online, or I'll find the ebook. And I'm going to buy that one book, and I'm going to try to read it as soon as I can. I'm not going to buy 5 books. Just go to the store, you find the one you want, you get 5 more on a whim, and you stick them on your shelf. I'm not going to do that. So if I get books, I'm going to get this book, and when it comes in, as soon as I am able to, I'm going to try to read it. So we'll see how that goes. And also just ebooks in general. So I'm making a lot of exceptions for ebooks. If I end up hunting for deals, I'm not going to kill myself. Maybe I'll just shift the challenge just to my physical books to kind of save my bookshelves. But that's my plan. Let me know in the comments if you're planning on doing this challenge too, or if you have a problem buying books way faster than you can read. Also, I'm interested in knowing if you're not doing the Read What You Own challenge, but if you have some strategies. And I almost, instead of this challenge, I was going to do this. Like, do you have a rule for yourself? If I buy 5 books, I'm going to read 10 books before I go to the bookshop again. So that may be something I shift to. If the challenge just gets too difficult for me and I want to go to the store, maybe I'll shift it and just make my own reading versus buying rules. But anything to do to curb some of my book buying. My wife will thank me if I'm able to do that. But that's all for now. Wish me luck and thank you.